Some things may have changed in here. So Kyle may have come over yesterday, and I may have got caught up in helping him build the turbo kit for the car that I kind of forgot to record. But that's alright, because he's coming back up today to finish fabrication and hopefully finish the turbo kit today. So yesterday, we got a good amount of it done. Actually, really all we got done was building the up pipe and building the down pipe. We still need to like fully weld them all, but right now they're all tacked up. Everything's being held in place by tacks. Turbo is in its location. Turbo's home. I did a lot of the fuel system stuff. Now, some of you guys pointed this out in the last video that I am not using PTFE fuel line right now, and you are 100% spot on. We have a little while until we go to the dyno and we actually start using E85. I have PTFE fuel line here that we're going to replace all of this nylon line with. So for the time being, for pump gas, this will work just fine for nylon. I totally spaced on the fact that I need PTFE line for E85. So I already have the line, I just have to order the fittings. But for the time being, this will work to get the car started and running. I just got off the phone with Surgeline, and we should hopefully have a base tune early next week. But let me show you guys this turbo kit. Dude, this thing looks so gnarly. Look at that thing. It is in its home. So a lot of people say that it's very difficult to run a rotated setup on an AMS manifold. I completely disagree. With custom fabrication, you can make any magic happen. So with this turbo kit, I actually love the way that Kyle did this turbo kit, because with most of the ones that are just off the shelf bolt on, the turbo is always like, it's kind of like fitment issue wise, it's hit or miss. With this one, everything's perfect. So right now we just have a rag right here because we don't have the support built for the up pipe yet for the turbo, because a lot of it's hanging off to the side. If you actually look at the up pipe right there, you can see that the flange is angled. So a lot of the weight is being pulled off to the left side. With the down pipe, we have plenty of clearance and plenty of room down there with the down pipe. Clears the firewall, doesn't touch anything. It's away from anything that's going to get excessively hot. So that is also good as well, I guess. For the up pipe, I believe it's 2.5 inch, or it's 2.5 inch coming up from the up pipe to the turbo to the T4 flange, and then it's 3 inch from the down pipe back. We still have to do the intercooler piping on this side that goes from the turbo here to this intercooler piping there. The intercooler piping on this side is pretty much done. It just needs to be welded up, so it just comes straight out, does a bend, goes down, and then meets up with our old Cobb intercooler piping down there. I've got this blow-off valve for the car. It's a tile Q. I don't know if I'm going to use this or the precision blow-off valve that I have for the EG33 STI. Regardless, the turbo or the blow-off valve location is probably going to go somewhere over here just to clear for the alternator. I was debating putting it there, but I think it's going to hit the alternator. We'll find out. I get my alternator relocation bracket from IAG today, so we can... Oh, sorry, blow-off valve. So we can find out today if that's going to work or not. Now, what we have left to fabricate on this today is the wastegate location. So the wastegate's going to end up sitting right there. It's going to actually sit just like that with the dump tube facing down and the wastegate being vertical and level with everything else in here. Now, this is a tight fit, don't get me wrong, but it will work. Dude, it looks so good. I just can't stop looking at it. I've wanted a rotated EJ for so long, and we're finally doing it. I love it. I love it. So aside from the turbo fabrication stuff and getting that mocked up in its home, oh, and we have a flex joint down there for anyone who is curious. As for fuel system stuff, so I went through and I made all of the new line for this fuel system right now. Like I said, we are going to swap this nylon line over to PTFE in the future. I'm just not worried about it right now. I don't have any PTFE fittings. I have an abundance of Dash 6 line and Dash 6 fittings to be able to get this thing started, so that's what we're doing today. Now over here, ethanol sensor and fuel pressure regulator. I have the ethanol sensor plugged directly into the fuel pressure regulator and then like going to the rest of the fuel system. I need to make an adjustment to this next time we go to do the PTFE lines for this, where the fuel pressure regulator on the bottom is going to end up having to tee into a rail, and then it's going to end up feeding up and through. I don't know quite how I'm going to do it yet. I might just rotate the Aeromotive A1000 a little bit to make it work, but we'll figure that out later. For now, this will work. I have the entire ethanol system ran as well, so I've got the brain of the ethanol system. I just put a riv nut in one of these old tabs up here, and then I was able to screw in the ethanol sensor brain computer guy right there, and we should be good. Now, one thing that I totally spaced on that I do want to show you guys with this is we had to completely mangle some of the brake lines down there to be able to get this turbo to fit. Kyle is coming up here with a flare nut tool today to be able to redo these brake lines for us right here. That little module right there is a brake bias for the rear brakes. If you delete that, from what I read on Naziok, that is going to cause some issues with your ABS module right here. So we're trying to keep that, trying to retain it. We just need to modify those brake lines a little bit. So now that we're all caught up, as soon as Kyle comes up here and we start continuing on the fabrication goodness, the goal is to get the kit done today. As soon as he comes up, we'll keep going on fabrication stuff and keep going on this, but the turbo looks so good in there. So we're like half hour in the future, so UPS just dropped off our manifold for the car, so we no longer have to use mats. It's literally the exact same manifold, but red. The only one I could find. It works, no complaints with it. I would have preferred like a black one or a silver one like that, but for the cost of it and being able to get it like ASAP, not gonna worry about it. Kyle, swing back up. We are gonna finish up the last of the stuff for this before final welding. So the external wastegate's gonna end up getting its home on there. I think blow off valve will probably do that, or he'll do that down at the shop, not sure. Most of the stuff that's happening up here in the garage is all just the fabrication design of it. The rest of the final welding is all gonna be happening down at his shop. You're scary. I would not trust myself enough to hold a grinder and do that. So right now we're getting the wastegate location mocked up. The wastegate should sit pretty parallel with where the manifold and where the turbo are, so it's not going to be angled at some stupid like 30-degree angle like some of the other rotated kits out there.
Be angled at 69.420.
69.420. There's the angle for everyone if you want to replicate this. So I know a lot of you guys were asking about how much Kyle's going to be selling these for, when they're going to be available. Right now we don't quite know yet. Kind of thinking that the kit would just consist of an up pipe right there and the down pipe, and the rest of it would be kind of like DIY, pretty much exactly what we're doing right now.
Well, you just have to make your own oil and drain lines, and then this hot side intercooler pipe.
Yeah, which is easy. That's easy stuff right there. I mean, even if you already have a front mount and you're going from a stock location to a rotated setup, you should already have a pipe coming out right there. And to be honest, you could probably run a coupler, and like a 2-inch straight piece of aluminum right there.
Yeah.
And for the most part, that's going to be your intercooler piping on the hot side. So for anyone who is curious, I'll keep you guys updated. If they do have any questions about buying one, should they hit you up on Instagram?
Yeah, or they can hit you up.
Okay. Yeah, if anyone wants to buy one, either hit me up or hit Kyle up on Instagram. I'll put it down like somewhere on the screen right there, but this thing's gonna be dope when it's done. Honestly, much better in my opinion than any other turbo kit on the market for rotated setups, only because it's more or less designed. I'd say it's designed better. I'm not gonna say the other ones are designed bad, but
yeah, I don't know, it's just different.
It fits better in my opinion. It looks better and it fits better. It was Bob Ross would say, that looks like a happy wastegate. It's still a happy wastegate. So we just got the downpipe pulled out of the car. So this is the first section of it. Kyle's doing the second section of it right now. We're gonna put a V-band in between the rear section and this front section. So that way, A, it's easier to ship these. B, if we wanted to just pull this front half of the downpipe out and leave the rear half, we can, because we can just undo the V-band on the turbo side, undo the V-band on the rear side. While we were down there, we also threw in where we're gonna end up putting the O2 sensors for this, because we have one for the wideband and we have one for the stock O2 sensor on the car. So, ooh, fun shiny lights. So, we pretty much have our downpipe figured out at this point. It feels like a very quality downpipe. You can see in there too. Look at that beautiful flow too. Everything's so naturally flowing. And the flex bellows, we like the flex bellows. So after Kyle gets everything kind of fabricate mocked up here. He's gonna jet back down to the shop, final weld it all, get everything figured out there. He's gonna bring it all back up. We're gonna do a couple more mounting brackets, supporting stuff for the turbo, the up pipe. While he's gone, I'm going to swap everything over from this manifold to our new AMS manifold over there, get the injectors in, the fuel rails, get the rest of the AOS lines cleaned up, and I'll show you guys how I'm routing these AOS lines because I know a lot of you guys keep asking, so I will show you. So just give me a little while on that. We had a little fiasco we had to take care of real quick. The alternator support bracket for the relocation kit came in right as Kyle was leaving, so we were like, hey, let's test fit the alternator to make sure the intercooler piping fits. It didn't fit, so we had to rework that like super quick so that way Kyle could jet out to go do the intercooler piping and weld everything up. So he just dipped out to go weld everything. When it comes back, I'll show you guys what the up pipe, the down pipe, everything looks like final welded together, because right now it's kind of just tacked together and it's a little... You'll see in a couple hours. But while Kyle's gone, I have some other things I have to do. Also, new merch samples came in, which these things are fucking dope. These things are koozie. If you've bought a hoodie before, it's the same style hoodie. They comfy. They super comfy. But anyways, we have a couple things to do before Kyle comes back. Hey, I need to get the rest of the AOS lines hooked up. I need to get the other alternator put on. Let me show you actually. What all do I need to do? This manifold needs to come off. This alternator needs to come out. This is the alternator for the 17 STI that I just used for mock-up because it's already for reverse location. I just went through and flipped this one for reverse location. If you guys are curious how to flip an alternator, on these DC engineering ones, I don't know about OEM. On the DC engineering, you take off those 3 8mm screws right there. You take off those 2 bolts that hold the bracket, that one, and then that cover pops off. Then you flip it around to this side. You take out that center nut right there, which is a 23mm or 22mm, I don't remember. Then you can just spin this cover to rotate at 180 degrees. And then you've got the threaded side on the opposite side and the side with the slide pin on the other side. So that just got like flipped around. We can get that one thrown on here. Our intake manifold swapped on here so I can get the throttle body put on our red one over there. I can get the fuel rails, injectors, all of that stuff. So let me start by taking everything out of here that is getting removed, and then we'll put the good stuff in. First things first, let's get this alternator out of here because this one is not staying. Come with me. Stop. Intake manifold, you can come out. You can come out. I want to get this alternator thing figured out real quick because for some reason the alternator bracket hits this dipstick. It hits the dipstick, and IAG says I don't need to modify or move the dipstick. I don't know about that. That don't line up. Let me try tightening that down actually and seeing like where the bracket sits. Oh my goodness! Please don't crush my finger. How am I supposed to tighten that? It's literally up against the fucking dipstick, dude. No modification required to the dipstick. I beg to differ. I wish I could tell. I can't even get the an Allen key in there. In theory, the dipstick should just slide right through there now. And then dipstick can still mount up. Look at that ingenuity. I'm gonna trim it a little bit more though. Burn my arm too many pieces. It really can hurt. So I cut it so that way it'll go right around the dipstick. Beautiful, baby. So for this IAG alternator goodness here, to tighten this, there's a 5mm Allen key on that, and then you just put a hex or a 21mm on there, and then you can push that down and tighten that to get tension. Now here's what I had to do for that bracket. You can see right there where I had to clearance it out a little bit for that to get, like, the dipstick is inside of the bracket. There's no way to keep the bracket without cutting it or modifying the dipstick to be able to get that one bolt back in its home right there. But now that the alternator is done with taken care of, I think next up I'm going to start messing with this AOS. So let me throw this on a time lapse real quick because I don't quite know how I'm going to route these. Actually, I should probably get the manifold on here first. Let me get everything transferred over from that silver manifold there to our red one there. baby. I actually like the red a lot more than I thought I would with the reverse setup. It's Gucci. It's Gucci. Alright, now that I've satisfied my need to see this, let me start figuring out these AOS lines and whatnot, because we got a decent amount of them. For the most part, I have all this done and figured out. So for the breathers, I have the AOS lines coming through here. So this is the breather port for the passenger side head. Driver side head does the same thing. It just wraps in between the runners going straight down there. I'm using the stock hose here for the crossover breather tube to equalize pressure between the heads. So this one I just trimmed down a little bit and shoved it back. As for the coolant lines for this thing, I was able to reuse the coolant lines. I put a union in between the lower coolant line that goes to the back of the head, and then a union between the one that goes over here to the water pump. Now, if the lines were longer, I would have just like straight up hooked the lines up to wherever they needed to go. But I don't want to spend $100 on new coolant lines for this, so that'll work. That's gonna work for what we need. I still don't have the manifold bolted down because I need two 1/8 NPT to 1/8 barb fittings for the backside of it down there, and it's gonna be a lot easier to get those in with the manifold off the car than on the car, so I'm gonna hold off on bolting it down for now. Those fittings come in Saturday, so it's not a huge rush for me. It's not like we're gonna be driving the car right now anyways, so I'd rather do it right, get all the fittings in. I don't want to risk cross-threading anything or like having a potential vacuum leak in there. So on the backside of the manifold, as I've shown you guys before, there's 1 1/4-inch NPT slot and then 4 1/8 NPTs. I've got a plug in one of them. I've got the Hobbs switch for the fuel pumps in another one. I've got a 1/4-inch one in there for the blow-off valve, and then the other two are going to end up being for the fuel pressure regulator right here, and the other one's going to be for the boost gauge for the vacuum line that just comes straight out of the firewall there. So Kyle just texted me. It's going to be about another hour or so of him welding down at the shop before he comes back up, so that way we can get the turbo kit back in and knock out the rest of the smaller stuff on the car, like reflaring some of the brake lines, getting the downpipe permanently installed, the turbo permanently installed, and the uppipe permanently installed. So until then, I'm going to be on standby, so we'll see you guys here shortly. So as you guys can see, it is clearly later at night now. Kyle is back, and we have one Matthias here. So right now Kyle is reflaring some of the brake lines to make them a little bit shorter for the rotated setup. While Kyle was welding, I'll show you guys all the stuff that he just welded here soon. I just got the manifold like bolted up, have all the vacuum lines put on here with the exception of the blow-off valve right here. So we have the one cold pipe coming off of there right there. Kyle's doing wizardry with flaring stuff. There's a lot of things I don't trust myself doing. Brake lines is one of them. So we have that first cold pipe that comes off the intake manifold, goes down, wraps down, and then that's going to meet up to our stock cob piping. Well, I guess it's not stock, but this pipe right here. So Kyle went down, he bead rolled it, cleaned up my cut because my cut was straight trash on that. And then right here we have the hot side intercooler piping. Look how like cool that is. This is a little intercooler pipe. So we have that, both of the intercooler pipes done. We also have the down pipe and the up pipe done, and this up pipe looks absolutely beautiful. Look at that! Look at that up pipe. That thing is gnarly. So our wastegate sits on it right there. We have the awesome Fuse logo as a support on the external wastegate flange as well. So this thing's awesome. It sits in the car about like so, wraps up, and then our wastegate goes right there, and then our turbo is obviously clocked onto the side right there. And then next we have our two-piece down pipe. So this is the first down pipe. This end obviously goes to the turbo, wraps down. We have 102 sensor right there for the wideband. Oh no, this is the rear section, my bad, because there's a 2-bolt flange. So this is the rear section. This is for the stock O2 sensor right here. This is the end that goes up to the turbo. We have the steeper bend on it right there. So on the other side of this one, we have the O2 sensor right there for the wideband. Goes down to the flex joint bellow, and then goes down to the other V-band, which will meet up to this section of the downpipe, which will then go to the catback of the car.
Zoom in on those welds, though.
Dude, the welds, I was gonna get B-roll of the welds, man. The B-roll always looks better. But they do look so good. So good. So it is the next morning. All we ended up doing yesterday was getting the kit on the car. Kyle's coming back up today because there's still some smaller things that we need to do. The up pipe and turbo setup, it needs a support because as you can see, it moves a little bit too much. So we need to make a support brace for that. We still have to do the dump tube for the wastegate back there, the intake charge pipe right here, and I think that's it. Oh, and I need an IAT bung welded onto this charge pipe right here. But this is pretty much what the turbo kit looks like. I do do apologize because I know this video has been all over the place. It's just been like, we're doing all this fab stuff for the most part in a small garage, so I was helping Kyle when I could, or it would just get so late that we were working that there's not good lighting in here. Like, we need to figure out a lighting situation for that door. But for the most part, this is it, and I'm like incredibly happy with this. So just to run over this one more time, 2.5-inch intercooler piping going down to our precision blow-off valve right there, goes down to the cob piping over here, using the cob piping to come up to this fuse one, and then it goes to the turbo here. We're gonna have a 4-inch intake right here with one of those big cone filters, this guy. So that intake will probably sit about like it'll sit down there somewhere. I don't know, we'll figure that out later. But very happy with this. I only have half of the downpipe on right now because, like I said, we're still playing with some fabrication stuff here and there. So we'll cover all that in the next video. I promise I will be better about recording all of that fab stuff, even if it is the smaller stuff. We're almost ready to start this thing and drive it. So like I said in the beginning of the video, we should have a base tune early next week for this thing. I'm still waiting on a couple smaller things to come in. I'm waiting on a coolant overflow because obviously that Killer Bee one doesn't work anymore. Kyle is snagging me some nylon braided line that is acceptable for E85 use. It's like a special nylon braid that'll work just fine. I need the oil feed line to come in from IAG that I ordered. I had their standard one that I was using for the FP Black, but I needed one with a -4 fitting on the top of it for the turbo. I'm also waiting on that turbo fitting to come in too. So it's a whole bunch of smaller stuff now that we're waiting on, but for the most part we are ready for first start on this car, assuming we get all that smaller stuff here in the next couple of days and get that on the car. But anyways, I do apologize again. I know this video has been all over the place. This was just it was a little bit difficult to film with trying to be in multiple places at once and staying out of Kyle's way while helping Kyle when I could, but super happy with the outcome of the car. I'm excited to see what kind of power it makes. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you liked the video, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, cyan, whatever color it turns for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be, I'm going to put it straight in the center of the screen, right over my face right now, because apparently I always put it in the exact same corner every single time. So now it's right in the middle of the screen. So with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies.